Hey guys, Ryan Steinelson here. It's 2 o'clock, sorry, on Tuesday, and it is the 14th of, man, what is it? It's actually, yeah, it's April. So I wanted to get started and talk about what we always talk about, which is Google Local Service Ads, optimization with AI, and also AI strategies to help you guys generate more leads and convert more of those leads into new clients, new customers. We got all kinds of new little widgets here for StreamYard. So if you guys don't know who I am, I'm Ryan Steinelson. I'm the founder of DIY AI, which is the parent company for my two softwares, which are Convertly. Convertly is our conversational AI agent that does voice messaging, chat, AI for businesses in order to make sure that all leads are answered within 30 seconds, primarily for the local service ads platform, which gets us into what LSA LSA Command is. So LSA Command is our software that helps businesses generate more leads on a consistent basis. That's mostly what a lot of businesses are really challenged with is, are they able to generate a consistent stream of pre-qualified, pre-sold leads? If you are, then you're ahead of 95% of businesses out there, because if you can push a button and generate a consistent stream of leads so that you can keep the lights on, so that you can pay your employees and yourself and make a profit, then that's what you're looking to do. And that's what LSA Command was created for, was after we identified and solved the number one problem, which is just getting the phone to be answered, or that message lead to be responded to, or that web chat to be responded to. Once we did that, and I solved that problem 2 years ago with what's now called Convertly, it used to be called DIY AI, but we realized that I didn't want everybody to think that we were just going to basically like have you do your own AI agent. Really, people want to be handheld, and we're more than happy to do that. So, I am the founder of an agency as well. It's been around for almost 20 years. And what I've create a lot of content about online. If you go online, you'll see if you type in local service ads, you'll see my face on a lot of the videos that come up in the search results. And you can, if you want to continue the conversation after today's meeting, after this live video, then you can go to our DIYAI.ai website. And you can also go to our school community, which is school.com/DIYAI. You can also text us at 561-861-3238, and we will answer any questions that you have. Please post any comments or questions below this video, wherever you're watching it, whether it's on YouTube, Instagram, and I will be glad to answer those questions, typically within 24 hours, most of the time within 24 hours, and actually most of the time within an hour. It really, the best opportunity to get any questions answered is to jump in here live, to do, during the workshop. I really enjoy having people on the call. So if you want to join us, I'm going to give you a link right now. If you're watching this, I'm going to put this into the chat or the comment section, so you can jump in. You don't have to share your video. Post any comments right now, and I'll answer any questions that you have, either, like I said, either live or on the recording. I'll take these banners off here so they're just not there anymore. So today I am going to be talking about some really good topics that I think are really valuable. There's, right now, and if I don't have any questions, then I'm going to just wrap it up after I go through these questions here. But today is what we're talking about is, let's see. I want to make sure that I got the same right topics here. Okay. So the no code, yeah, let me scroll down here. I want to make sure I've got the right content. The no code agent blueprint. So we've got 3 topics that we go through every week. Stop chatting. I mean, the title for today is, no code agent blueprint. Stop chatting and start building the 24/7 digital workforce. Most employees are stuck in the prompting phase. So the prompt phase of AI is now long gone. A lot of people ask a chatbot a question, copy the answer, and go back to work. That's a hobby, not a business. In April of 2026, AI really is moved from the passive prediction to active execution. I talked about this last week as well. Today, I'm going to show you the exact tools you can use without knowing how to write a single line of code to build AI agents that actually execute tasks. We're going to cover the new Zapier Agents versus Lindy debate and how to stop your own employees from leaking your company data to public models, AI models. Because a lot of people are using AI and they're copying and pasting your standard operating procedures into these AI agents, and that makes it available. That makes those conversations available, and that's SOP available to everybody. If you aren't building a digital workforce this week, you're paying a manual labor tax your competitors aren't. So there's a passive to active agent shift. So if you have to hit enter for your AI to work, it's not an agent basically. So the agent that really is doing a lot of work right now is the agent that, as I've talked about, is like obviously either Claude Cowork, which I'm trying to get my wife to start using, or OpenClaw, which I'm using, and I put on top of it anti-gravity, which is an IDE, or integrated development environment, which is basically just a long word for software development tool, kind of like Lovable, but it lives on your computer. The plan is I'm going to get a laptop for my wife so that we can have Claude Cowork or our version of OpenClaw running 24/7 on that computer, with that computer being run 24/7. We'll leave that computer here, and that'll be her computer to use whenever she needs to. She'll also have her tablet, which she's already got an iPad that she can use. But I just think that right now, and it's funny, a lot of people are talking about this on Twitter. They're saying that if you don't, you're going to be the forever middle class. And what the differentiator is do you know how to use these agents, these new agents that can actually get work done or not? And what these agents are doing is they're basically working off of cron jobs, chronological jobs, like jobs that are done on a regular basis. So you don't have to press enter in order to have them do that job. And you give them skills to complete the job. Skills are just prompts, basically, that you've put into a storage that they reference. And then you give them access to .md files, which are their memory files. So they have context. This is what I've said to my wife, months ago. I was like, look, these large language models would be great if they just had complete context of me and what I do. Well, now you can have that as a reality, but the problem is that if you do that, a lot of times the context window, and I encourage you guys to jump in and have a conversation about this. The context window can be very large. So a lot of developers, a lot of people that are messing around with AI agents right now, they're actually saying don't make those .md files that big because it does bog the agent down. And I agree with that somewhat. I also agree that there is also the thinking of this guy was talking about it the other day, and I thought it was really good. He was on Greg Eisner's podcast, and he was talking about, and he's a really great thinker. I mean, this guy that that Greg Eisner had on, I forget the guy's name, but that Greg had on the podcast, but he was talking about the fact that you really don't want to build out the .md file that much, and you don't really want to build out the skills, or you don't want to download the skills yourself. You want to build them out through workflows, which is part of what I'm going to talk about today. So if you have a workflow, you just push that workflow into an IDE like Lovable or Anti-Gravity, instead of using these large language models that are going to learn on what you enter into them. Okay, if you put a firewall in between you and the large language model, so they can't train on that conversation, that context that you give, that workflow that you might give it, and instead you put that IDE in between you and the agent and the large language model, whether that's Gemini or Claude, or whatever, or ChatGPT or Grok, then what you're doing is you're protecting your intellectual property, your IP. So I would encourage you to do just that. I mean, I've built out my agent with a bunch of .md files because I thought that was the best way to do it. And now I'm learning that it's actually better to just build your own skills and go with a somewhat lean .md file, so that it doesn't have to load all that information. Because what's happening is that you use a lot of tokens that way. And if you're doing this with your employer's footing the bill, then you're spending a lot of tokens that you don't need to. So because the agent's got to read that .md file every single time that it loads up. So you might want some information in that .md, in that memory file. I have a brain.md file, but I've now got like 10 or 15 .md files. And, I'm using a tool, OpenRouter, to actually flip between the models that I'm using, so that I'm not using the most expensive models every single time. I'm only using the model that I need for the moment that I'm actually using it. So this is a really important strategy as well that a lot of people didn't do in the beginning, and their bill, after they were using like OpenClaw or they were using Cowork, ended up being thousands of dollars. Every once in a while I have to recharge my account, every 2 or 3 days for like $24. I have to, add $24 more to Gemini, but it's worth it because, and look, if I didn't have the huge context window that I did with my MD file, I probably would use half of that or maybe a quarter of it because I'm going back and I'm having a conversation back and forth with the agent. And so I know that probably half of the usage of my tokens is probably just from the agent loading up those .md files every single time that I actually submit a new message to the agent. So I would encourage you to lean up those .md files. And the good news is that you can start from scratch and you're not really that far behind. And I would also encourage you, like I'm doing, like I'm building out my OpenClaw to do outbound research or outbound emails. And I'm using Instantly, which is an email, a cold email service that will do outbound emails. You can buy warmed up emails from it. I didn't know you could even do that, that was a thing. And I'm using Appify as a scraper, and I'm using the MCP app. And that's the other thing is if you're not using MCPs in your integrated development environment, your IDE, then shut them off because otherwise they have to load up every time as well. So that's another thing I learned the other day. So, things are happening really rapidly. What I would encourage you to do, again, is develop these skills Like, go through the workflow until you get it right. Like, iterate, have a conversation with the agent, like I did with this outbound workflow build that I did, until the agent actually gets it correct. Once you do that, then you say, okay, commit what you've done now that I've verified. Trust but verify, especially with these agents, that you got to verify that that skill is learned and implemented correctly before you say build a skill around it. Because otherwise, you're going to have to go back and you're going to have to find out where it screwed up, and you're going to have to resave the skill, which is not a big deal, but it's better just to do it right the first time and triple check. Just like when you're doing like anything else, like, when you're doing measurements, I was always told, like, when you're doing carpentry, like, triple check the measurement before you cut. So same thing with building out these agents. So anyway, let me go back to today's topic. So the U.S. Chamber of Commerce just released a massive Q1 2026 report showing that 84% of high-tech small businesses are outpacing their competitors. What's the shift? Moving from ChatGPT wrappers to autonomous resources that handle the entire customer journey from discovery to checkout. So I'm going to go to this resource. Okay, so this is from the Chamber of Commerce, U.S. Chamber of Commerce. How the new era of AI will impact customer-driven companies, large and small, in 2026. I'm going to put this in the chat here. Okay, let me put it in the chat because I think this is really it's a really good reference point. And AI tools are evolving rapidly and will lead to dramatic changes in how customers interact with brands and make purchases. So this is one of the things that one of the guys that I follow very closely on YouTube said the other day is he said that businesses are actually what the businesses that are of the future, the businesses that are really getting ahead are doing exactly what this article is talking about, is they're optimizing for a OpenAI or OpenClaw or a Claude Cowork checkout process. They're optimizing for agents. They're optimizing their sales process for agents to make it easy for an agent to make a purchase, not a human, but an agent. Okay. So it says nearly 60% of businesses now use AI, more than double the share of 2023. According to U.S. Chamber of Commerce report. Small businesses who are high-tech adopters outpace low-tech competitors in terms of growth, with 84% of high-tech adopters reporting gains in sales and profits. Okay. At the same time, major retailers like Walmart, Target, Home Depot, and Lowe's are driving rapid AI advances by adopting more powerful AI tools. In 2026, AI in 2026 is evolving from a passive tool that offers prediction to active autonomous resources that can execute complex multi-step prescriptive actions across every consumer and operational touch point. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So this is, again, talking about what I was just saying. Another thing that they're talking about is AEO is the new SEO. Brands must learn AI-friendly ways to communicate in order to be discovered. I was just meeting with a business this morning. It's a weight loss clinic. And right below the local service ads was AI insights that had nothing to do with Google Business Profile optimization and everything to do with AEO or answer engine optimization. Because customers or consumers are turning away from standard searches and using more complex and conversational AI-driven searches. It says that global and U.S. e-commerce traffic from AI chatbots and browsers doubled compared to 2024. That's going to be so up this year. AI was credited with driving 20% of all retail sales. Wow. So making product description visible to AI is critical for small brands. This is just for small businesses, the same thing. You've got to create content on your website that answers the questions that people would have that they'd be typing in to all of the large language models. Okay. It's really up to you to create content that's so for them. It's, for example, talking about GLP-1, which is one of the, the really big, hot topics right now. Everybody wants to, stop their cravings for food and for, fat food and the things that are not good for us, sugar. And these GLP-1 drugs are a hot topic. So if I was a weight loss center, I would, if I was offering it, I would definitely add GLP-1 as a topic on the website and create blog content about it, as long as you're able to talk about it. So very important. It's also really important that if you are developing an AI agent for your HIPAA compliant business, if that's a doctor, obviously anybody in healthcare, you've got to make sure that that agency that's offering the AI agent also has a BAA, which is a document that they would have you sign that lets you know that they're compliant with HIPAA. Okay. And then they need to sign a BAA document with their vendors that actually provide this or completes the solution for the conversational AI, whether that's a chatbot, a message bot, a voice agent, etc. Because otherwise you could be held accountable. So just make sure that that they're making you sign a BAA document and that you have seen their BAA document with whoever they use to implement their voice agent or their conversational agent, no matter what type it is. Okay, so topic number 2. Please type in any questions that you have below. I see we got a bunch of viewers on the video. Just go ahead and type any questions you have, and I'll answer them. Okay. The other one is no code stack, Zapier Agents versus Lindy. You don't need a developer. You just need a workflow. Amen. We're breaking down the practical tools. Zapier just dropped Zapier Agents for non-technical teams to triage emails and route CRMs automatically. That's pretty cool. So basically, you can interface your CRM with just about any software. Ours has been able to be connected to just about anything. Now, what we're working on is MCP access. So that's the new language for these AI agents. It's the new universal language that AI agents speak. And so what we want to make sure is that our software can communicate with all the agents that are being created out there in order for you guys to be able to pull the data in, as long as we get paid for it. We just want to make it easy for you to be able to get the data pulled in for your Google local service ads page. And then you can represent it any way that you want to. You can build your own software if you want. So that's really what a lot of these new software, these SaaS companies are really racing for in 2026, is creating the ability to be able to allow businesses businesses that are leveraging conversational AI, well, not conversational, but just agents in general, to be able to use their data through that universal protocol, which is MCP, that universal conversation protocol that agents use to talk. So on the flip side, Lindy is dominating the conversational agent space. I'll show you which one you need based on your service business model. So Lindy's been great. I mean, for years, but what's interesting is that, Lindy, for $49 a month. So Zapier is like $19 a month. Lindy's $19 to $49 a month. I like using Lindy because it allows me to turn on or interface with my OpenClaw, or what I call Gravity Claw, using iMessage. So But these platforms are making it much easier for you to be able to, for non-technical teams, to be able to build out agents right within their own platform. They don't want you to leave. They want you to use their connection points. And so why not have your own agent in Zapier? Like Zapier is allowing you, and so is Lindy, is allowing you to build an agent within their platform. It makes complete sense because they have all the connections. So if you just build an agent and it just has all the connections to every single platform out there, that seems pretty easy. They're just kind of, they're just cutting in line, making it easy for you to be able to build these agents out that have the access that you really want. Because that is the limitation a lot of times with these, these OpenClaw and co-work agents is their access to the tools that you want to give them access to. I can tell you right now that Instantly, for example, like it is not easy for me to be able to develop with Instantly right now using OpenClaw. It just does not connect to it. It's not connecting all the time. So the solution potentially would be to build something inside of, like either Zapier or Lindy that automatically has these connections where that breakdown might not happen. So I'm going to put a link to this article as well so that you guys can see that. And there you go. Again, let me know any questions you have. We got some lurkers on. I'd love to get any questions. So the security issue, okay? Your employees are already using AI and they're giving your SOPs to the public is what's happening sometimes. So shadow AI is the biggest hidden risk for small to medium-sized businesses right now. Over 60% of employees use unauthorized AI tools at work. So we'll cover how to build a centralized, secure internal AI workspace so your team gets the power of large language models without training public models on your private customer data. So that can be a challenge. I'm wondering if there's any stats here. 42% of organizations are expected to hire an AI-focused CX roles, such as conversational AI designers and automated analysts by 2026. Wow. 57% of businesses are either using self-service chatbots or plan to do so in 2025. The average conversation with an AI chatbot lasts 11 minutes. Not just that, but for more basic questions, tickets gets closed just about 11 tickets. 82% of customers would rather talk to an AI chatbot than wait for a human rep. Amen. I 100% agree. Okay, so anyway, you get the point. I mean, but the problem is that your client's information could be getting jeopardized with these unauthorized usages by your employees. Okay, that's the bottom line. So anyway, let me know what questions you guys have. Again, my name's Ryan. You can reach us at DIYAI.ai. You can go to school.com/DIY, completely free, SKOOL.com/DIYAI. And then you can call us or text us at 561-861-3238. Love to have you next week to answer any questions you have. Thanks for being on, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.